Good evening and welcome to a Friday Crime Watch, a rare departure from our usual monthly slot on a Thursday. Perhaps we can reach new viewers who can solve some of tonight's cases. We start with some fresh evidence on a case you've probably heard about in the news.
In fact, tonight, police in London have asked us to take up the case of 11-year-old Nayantara Ali. In particular, we'd like to show you some new bits of evidence, two important things, the first time that they've been seen. They're both distinctive, and if you can identify them, frankly, you can probably identify the killer. Nayantara left home to walk to school at 8:15 a.m. 4 weeks ago today, Friday, November the 4th. That's the day before bonfire night. She lived in Pevensey Road, here in Forest Gate, East London. Now, there were two routes she could take to school, and it's important to know which way she went. A friend thought she saw Nayantara here in Odessa Road buying sweets. So if Nayantara then would have walked towards Woodhouse Road and gone to school the back way. But there is a sweet shop too in Dames Road, and Nayantara often went that way instead. Did you see her, or did you see anyone suspicious? Maybe on Wanstead Flats, which is the green bit opposite, or on any of the roads that run from Dames Road to Odessa Road? Above all, do you know anyone who ever goes into the disused stonemason's yard in Winchelsea Road, which is beside the railway viaduct? The railway's there in black. That's where Nayantara's body was found, in that yard, buried under rubble. And whoever put her there almost certainly had local knowledge. Several people tip rubbish here. Now, these were photos taken by a resident incensed by all the mess just a few days before Nayantara went missing. If you dump stuff there, believe me, no one is worried about littering tonight. Please call us if you've dumped stuff there in the last 3 or 6 months. 0500 600 600. You might not realise it, but even so have seen something which is crucial to the investigation. 0500 600 600 if you know anyone who dumps rubbish there. But above all, do you know where this comes from? It's a fitted single sheet. Its sort of pea green colour is unusual. Or do you know this carpet? It's about 7.5 feet in diameter, and it's been cut roughly into a circle, as you can see. Maybe it was used as a rug. It's a thick, tufted pile backed with hessian, not rubber. Detective Superintendent Doug Harvey is leading the investigation. The actual carpet is still in the forensic laboratories. What more can you tell us about it? It's pink in colour.
The unusual feature about it is it appears to have been unprofessionally cut from a larger piece of carpet. So perhaps as a viewer who knows someone who's done that, or maybe even the remnants are still lying somewhere.
Now, the shape, this round shape, as you say, is fairly large, 7 foot. Would have gone into a reasonably big room. The pile is probably from a bedroom carpet, is it?
It looks like a bedroom carpet. It doesn't look worn. The other thing about it, which I must say, is that it is possible that the body was actually carried through the streets for a short distance in the carpet.
So if anybody saw somebody carrying a carpet through that area towards Woodhouse Road, you'd really want to know about that.
Very much so, yes.
The sheet itself, fairly distinctive, but I mean, how would I know if that was mine?
Well, I'm told it's unusual for a bottom sheet of a bed, a fitted sheet, to have a valance fitted as well.
Now, the valance is the bit that covers not just the top of the mattress, but the side of the bed as well, and maybe the legs. The base of the bed and the legs, yes. And that's all part of the same thing, the same sheet. Now, presumably you're only interested in people in East London who recognise these things.
What I'm hoping for is that within a very local area, if someone has looked over their neighbour's fence and seen such a sheet hanging on their washing line, or maybe in a service wash in a laundrette, I must hear from them.
Nayantara's clothes have not been discovered, or all the kit she was with. This is obviously the most recognisable. This is identical to the jumper she was wearing and the THS from her school there. This is the tie. She had an umbrella exactly like this. And tell us about the duffel case. She had some PE kit as well.
In the duffel bag, that was her school bag.
Yeah.
It's a black duffel bag. It may not be exactly similar to that, but it's certainly black and with the words "Take this" from the pop group.
Take that.
Right across it. And in that she carried her books, her school books, her PE kit, various bits of personal property, all missing.
Maybe she went to somebody else's house, maybe she met someone. If you can help in any way, please call 0500 600 600. It's a free call number, 0500 600 600, or you can call the murder team at Leytonstone direct. That's on 081 556 8855. That's 081 556 8855.
Well, calls to last month's programme have certainly supplied detectives with plenty of new information. So far, there have been 3 arrests, and we're told there are more to follow. Leads resulting from all 3 of our main reconstructions are still being sorted and worked on. We had 150 calls offering help in the search for 9-year-old Daniel Handley, who disappeared 2 months ago after playing near his home on his bike. Unfortunately, though, nothing so far has taken detectives any nearer to finding what's happened to him, but we will give you any further details as we go along.
Tonight's first reconstruction is a sort of modern highway robbery. It so frightened a driver that he asked us to use an actor to portray him in our reconstruction rather than take part himself. And we've changed some other details too in order to prevent copycat crimes. Several clues, nonetheless, should help you paint a picture of the gang. It all began a month ago near Blackwood in Gwent, but you might have seen what happened after that during a 9-hour journey down the M4 and into the home counties.
Are you all right?
I don't know. They've taken the trailer unit, the lot.
Are
They
you
had me in the
injured?
back and beat me and everything. I've been driving for 3 years. Nothing like this has ever happened to me. I still can't believe it.
Who do you actually drive for, Lee?
AJ Ostrich. It's a firm based in Essex.
Are you an Essex boy yourself?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend. I'm away from home a lot, so I talk to her a lot on the phone.
Come back tonight?
Yeah. Can't make another cup of tea, can I?
Yeah, go mix everyone in the canteen.
Ta.
Be wary, there's 2 boys hanging around down the crossroads. They've been down there for about half an hour.
Which one's those?
Oh, they're coming up by you now, look.
You got any cans?
Sorry, Lev, only small bottles of pop.
He was 6 foot tall, slim built. He had dark slash-back hair. His eyes was very close, and he was in his 30s.
It's 24 pence, please.
You were not from around here, are you?
No, I'm just working over in Merthyr. Been waiting for a lift for an hour.
Oh.
Oh, thank
And you
you.
had an English accent.
That's you loaded! All right, mate. Cheers.
When you actually drove out to the factory, did you see anything suspicious?
No, not really. Although thinking about it, I do remember seeing something. I think it was a white Renault Traffic.
You again? How many times have I told you not to call me at the office? Hang on a minute, love. I'll just see if I can pull over somewhere.
Oh, come on, love. I've only just set off. I've got a long journey in front of me. No, I can't make Friday. Saturday's good. Any good films on? Nah, I've seen it. I'll tell you what. Why don't you have a look in the paper and see what's on, and I'll see you when I get back, eh? Bye.
Yeah? What do you want?
Get in the back! Ah! Get in the back! Shut your mouth or I'll break your bleeding arm. Ah, I can't breathe.
I've got an iron bar, so shut it.
No! I was so scared. I didn't know what they were going to do with me.
Before they actually covered your eyes, did you manage to get a look at these men?
I think there were 3 of them, but I only saw 2. The first one, he was 5'8", he had light brown hair, and he was about 28 and stocky. And the second one came in as the first man was hitting me. He had blonde curly hair, he had 2 earrings in his right ear, and I think he was about 6 feet tall. I think they all had Cockney accents.
What's your name?
Lee.
Lee what?
Lee Jones.
Lee, we're not going to hurt you. We're just after your load.
After about half an hour, I could hear a lot of traffic. We may have been on the motorway or something. Maybe the M4. I was in quite a lot of pain. My ribs hurt. I didn't know if they were broken.
What do you do for diesel?
I use a shell card. It's between the two tacker boxes.
Where?
Between the two boxes.
Now, listen. If there was ever a good time to shut your mouth, it's now. Got it?
All right. Just don't hit me, yeah? It's amazing what you can hear when you can't see. Like, all your senses and sounds seem to be better. Like, one of them had a petrol Zippo lighter by the sound of it opening and closing. I couldn't have a fag, could I?
Seeing as you've been a good boy.
By the way this man held the cigarette, I don't think he was a smoker.
How long were you actually on the motorway for?
Quite a long time. We did a lot of stopping and starting. I think we might have been on the M25. It was dark. I could tell by the way the lights were going past. After a while, we stopped and reversed inside. I was sweating so much that the tape started to come away from my eyes, and I could just see this man. And I think he must have got in when he unhitched the trailer. He had curly hair on top, short at the sides. He was slim.
Told you we wouldn't hurt you again.
What's happening?
Shut up and keep down.
What are you doing?
Cleaning the cab. I like to leave things the way I find them.
I reckon he must have been wiping off all the fingerprints.
Leave me keys, please.
I'll tell you what. I'll leave you your keys and your mobile phone. There's a man in the car outside and he's watching you. Don't do anything for 10 minutes.
There was no way I was hanging around for 10 minutes. I was scared. I saw these headlights behind me. I don't know if they had anything to do with it.
Look, I'm not mucking about. I've been hijacked.
I'm sorry, slow down just a minute. Slow down so I can get some details from you. Well, I need to know where you are. Can you see any road signs or any street name?
I've no idea. I've no idea.
You're still driving?
Yeah, I'm driving.
If you can stop somewhere, find a street sign and get a policeman to you straight away. Sarge, I've got a problem here.
Reporting a lorry hijack somewhere on or near the M1. Can you attend?
He's probably on the 507, I should think, somewhere there.
Hello, sir. Can you see any road signs, any landmarks, so we can find out exactly which way you're going?
Yeah, sign for Amptill.
I've just passed there, but I found no trace of him. I'll turn round.
Right, can you just not stop somewhere, find a street sign, then I can get someone straight to you?
BA from Tango Mike 615, now located the vehicle, over.
I was so terrified. If it hadn't been for that police car being so close, there's no way I would have stopped for anyone.
Chris, Norman, the load and the trailer are still missing. Now, the trailer in particular is a bit of a hefty thing to conceal. That's got to be lying around somewhere.
That's right. The trailer, as far as we're aware, was unhitched in the Essex area, and obviously we're most anxious to recover it.
It's a fairly scruffy sort of blue trailer. Not much more distinctive about it, is there?
Well, it's a well-used trailer. It's blue in colour. It has three wheels on, double wheels on each side of the trailer there. It's on the trailer itself. It has a number which is DX3101.
DX3101. Now that will be painted on the back of the vehicle.
That's painted on the end of the trailer.
But that's not the registration number. That's just a number
of
the
trailer register number.
And it belongs to I think it says Deluxe International on it as well.
That's right. On the side of the trailer, you will see Deluxe International.
Now, what they stole was great barrels full of this stuff, which is waste. It comes from the chips that come from telephones, I think, is that right?
That's right. These are the component parts from the microchip from telephones.
Now, this stuff, the blue stuff, there are two sorts. This looks just like cat litter, doesn't it, with tiny little bits of gold fleck in it, blue and grey chips.
It's a blue and grey powder.
And this, more gold and silver, the bits just have been chopped up, literally the chips.
Like shavings of metal.
And it's worthless to them, isn't it?
Well, it is in that form. What it needs to have done to it is a special sort of treatment to extract the valuable metals.
And where do they get that done?
Well, that can't be done in this country. It has to go to either Germany or to Belgium.
So it's quite possible that they've got this stuff and realised that, frankly, they've just stolen a lorry load of cat's litter.
Well, we believe that when they actually stole the load, that they thought it was in its refined form. But in actual fact, it's in the condition we show you here. So we believe they're stuck with it.
Well, it's a bit of an odd appeal, but if anybody's offered you any cat litter like this, in this sort of powdery form with bits of gold fleck in it or any of this stuff, let us know. Now, you've got a security video which contains people who just could be connected with this, though they might have nothing to do with it. We ought to stress this. This is at Memsbury Service Station on the M4. Explain what happened here.
That's right. From our inquiries, we understand that the lorry actually called at the Membury services, where they purchased diesel. And what we have recovered is a videotape from the service station which shows a number of people at the service station at the relevant time, which is between 4:15 and 4:25 p.m. on the day.
Well, if you know who those people are, and if it's you, for heaven's sake, just call us and make sure this piece of evidence is eliminated. But if there's any way you can help on this, please call 0500 600 600. It's a free call number, 0500 600 600. The evidence is being brought together at an incident room in Cwmbran, and you can call there direct. That's on 0633 877 999. 0633, the code for Cwmbran, 877 999.
Well, now to a photo call. As a result of calls last month, the man top left of your picture there was arrested last week, and he's now awaiting trial for murder. On the Building Society robbery, a man has been arrested and is now awaiting charges, but police are still looking for the other man on the right. Do call if you recognise him. These two, George Edward Bell and Glenn Robert Jarman, they were wanted in connection with deceptions, and as a result of viewers' information right after our appeal, detectives went to a flat in Cardiff. Unfortunately, the occupants had made a hurried exit. And finally, bottom right, the man has been found in Jersey, although only indirectly as a result of Crimewatch. He's now been charged with a serious assault. So let's see what happens this month. Here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames with some new faces.
Do you recognise this man? Colleagues in Bedford would like to speak to him in connection with a series of street robberies. At around 8:45 p.m. on Sunday the 23rd of October, the man attacked a woman as she walked through Bedford town centre. She managed to fight off his first attempt, but he followed her, and a few minutes later attacked her again at the junction between Midland Road and All Hallows. He stole her handbag, leaving her unconscious with a broken nose. He's in his late teens, 5'8", of slim build. He carried a rucksack and was earlier seen wearing a burgundy woolen hat. If you can help at all, please call us tonight.
Do you know this couple? They're Clive and Joanna Ramsey, and colleagues in London are anxious to speak to them in connection with a series of frauds. During May last year, a man in London, acting as a financial advisor to an elderly lady, fraudulently sold her shares. He and his accomplice disappeared with the proceeds. Clive Ramsey is 38. He's 5'9", of slim build and has light brown hair and blue eyes. His wife Joanna is 44. She's also 5'9", with long blonde hair and brown eyes. The couple are both well-spoken and frequently visit restaurants, bars and casinos in London's West End. We believe that they could be in Scotland at the moment. If you can help at all, please ring us tonight.
This is Carl Maddox. Colleagues in Northamptonshire are keen to talk to him in connection with a rape which happened earlier this year. On the 16th of April, a 34-year-old woman was assaulted and raped in Northampton by two men. Carl Maddox is 33, 6'2" and heavily built. He may have shaved off his beard by now. If you recognise him or you know where he is, please ring us tonight.
Next, these two look familiar. Colleagues in Sussex would like to talk to them in connection with a series of frauds in the south of England. Here's the couple on the 11th of August at Thomas Cook Travel Agents in Horsham, attempting to buy travellers' cheques and foreign currency. When they were challenged by the cashier, they left empty-handed. The woman is between 50 and 55, 5'2" and slim. She's got ginger or blonde hair. The man is younger, between 28 and 30, 6 foot and of medium build. He's got dark brown hair. If you recognise either of them or can help with any of our photocall cases, please call us now.
And here's the number, 0500 600 600. Free call, 0500 600 600.
Our next case has baffled police for more than 8 months. It's the inexplicable murder of an elderly man, Ron Cousins, in Chelmsford. Police have talked to nearly 1,000 people in house-to-house inquiries, another 260 in stop checks in the street, and they've taken nearly 600 statements. Neighbours and acquaintances have been more than willing to help, but all to no avail. This appeal to Crimewatch viewers is frankly their last hope of finding whoever was callous enough to have killed a frail old man. Our reconstruction begins in the house next door to Mr. Cousins in the small hours of the day Ron died. On Saturday, April the 16th, the couple next door to Ron, David and Angela Bailey, left home early in the morning. They were off to France for the weekend.
Oh, it's a funny noise. Can you hear it?
Yeah, it sounds like it's coming from Ron's bathroom.
I thought it's a bit early to wake him up, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, we're running late anyway. Let's go.
Right.
Ron was born in this house, 5 Anchor Street. He'd lived all his life here. Closest to him was his widowed sister, Ruby, who lived nearby.
He loved people. You couldn't forget him. He was kind. That's the impression you get. He was kind. He'd do anything for anybody.
Hello, Ron. How are you, mate? Hello, mate. How are you? Nice to see you again. Nice bit of green. Yeah, not so bad.
The day of Ron's death, Friday, April the 15th, would seem to have started normally enough.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
All right. How's hubby?
He's fine.
Good.
You're going to be busy?
Oh, yeah. Look what they gave me down at the anchor.
That is nice,
Pretty,
yes.
I'm going to get it framed.
Yes.
They look nice hanging up in my front.
Near enough everybody in the market knew him.
Oh,
He was the sort of man that you would like to have for your grandfather, because he was such a nice old boy. He was lonely, you could tell that, but he was nice, and I just got the, you know, sometimes the feeling just came that you wanted to take him home and look after him.
Later, he went to the Christchurch Day Centre, one of several church-run drop-in centres he frequented. He thrived on the company. Anne helps to run the centre.
I was always pleased to see him. He used to love coming for his lunch. And he was a kindly, lovely old man. He never grumbled. He was always happy, had a smile for you. If there was somebody there to listen to him, he would always chat. And he was just glad that he was able to be out and about amongst people.
Julie works as a secretary at an office in Anchor Street.
Won't be a minute, Jo. I'm just going across to the post box. All right, okay.
Late that afternoon, she saw Ron in the street, making his way home.
I'd only gone round the corner a couple of steps, but as I turned, I noticed Ron coming from the direction of the town, from the New London Road end. I always felt I wanted to stop, just to make sure he was okay.
Can't wait for the weather. I mean, if it's raining, I don't mind.
He had such a cheery personality.
Yeah, I know.
He never grumbled about anything. And he always wanted everybody to enjoy life. He never preached about anything. He obviously knew there was nasty people out there. There was bad in the world, but he could never ever see it in anybody.
To get in and make yourself a nice cup of tea.
It's a good idea. We could do with a cuppa now. Right, I'll see you.
And with that, I just told him to look after himself, and then he went down the back alley to the back of his house. And that was, unfortunately, the last I saw of him.
Shortly before 6 o'clock, Peter Morgan left work and headed for his Friday evening workout at the local gym, also in Anchor Street.
I saw a young man standing near the junction. He was about 5 foot 8 inches tall. He was slightly built and had long hair. As I looked at him, he turned away, and I thought he looked a bit suspicious. It was as though he didn't want me to notice him.
Half an hour later, as Joanna Stevenson took her daughter to a German lesson, she saw a man fitting exactly the same description.
There was a man standing outside the terraced houses, right opposite where I turn into the car park. He seemed to be looking up the alleyway between the houses.
See you about 7.
Five minutes later, she remembers the man was still there. He was staring up at number 5 Anchor Street.
This time he was looking up at the bedroom window and then looking down again. He was still there as I pulled out and drove off home.
Right, Alan, I'm finished. I'll see you next week.
Peter Morgan had been in the gym nearly 2.5 hours. It was 8:10 when he left and walked down Anchor Street.
I saw this young man again. It was definitely him. I was a bit surprised that he was still there after 2.5 hours.
This time the man had moved to the end of the street, about 100 yards from Ron's house. No one is known to have seen or spoken to Ron that evening, but usually he'd watch television and read his Bible.
There'll be more on Newsnight on BBC 2 at 10:30, but that's the 9 o'clock news tonight. Good night.
Next door, the Baileys had an early start ahead of them for their trip to France in the morning.
Once the news was finished at 9:30, we went straight to bed. I think it was about 9:45. I was just dropping off and I heard some knocking on Ron's door. And I remember thinking, I wish they'd shut up because some of us have got to be up early in the morning. And it stopped and I dropped off to sleep.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
In the morning, a couple living 2 doors away were concerned to see Ron's curtains still drawn.
Here, do you think Ron's all right? It's 10:30.
He'd be up by now. Do you think you'd better go and check? Could be ill, you know.
The bath was overflowing and the house had been ransacked. Ron had been strangled and stabbed.
You couldn't imagine anybody doing that to Ron. He wouldn't hurt a fly. I miss him coming round, I miss going out with him. There's a blank. I expect I shall always miss him.
Well, Detective Superintendent, why would somebody want to do that to Ron?
Well, I don't know, really. He's an old man. He hadn't got any enemies as far as I know. He was in the habit of inviting people back to his home address, however, and maybe somebody came back that he fell out with, or maybe a robbery was the motive. I really don't know at this stage.
So it needn't be a local person, you think?
Oh, indeed not. He was in the habit of inviting anyone back to his home, and it could be somebody from outside the area.
Was anything missing?
Well, we had a search of the house and we can't determine that anything was missing. We found £700 hidden in the house, so obviously whoever the person was, they didn't find that money.
Now, the most important thing, of course, is to find the man that so many people saw that night.
Yes, indeed, yes. This man is described as being in his early 20s. He's about 5'8" to 5'9" tall. He's a slim man and he's got long, straight hair, which comes down to his shoulders but curls up at the edges. He's dressed in a beigey colour, grey colour, loose-fitting jacket.
It's a busy area there, so other people may have seen him too.
Very, very busy part of Chelmsford, and anyone could have seen this man lurking in the area.
The other thing you need to know is who may have called at Ron's house that evening.
Yes, there was a knock at the door at about 10 o'clock, we think. Clearly, we would like to identify who that person was knocking at his door.
Is there anything else you can deduce about Ron's killer?
Well, there was a lot of paint left in the address, and a lot of blood was left at the scene. Clearly this person will be covered in paint and will be covered in blood, and he may have made some efforts to have washed himself in the bath upstairs. So
Which is why the water was left running?
Exactly, yes.
So if somebody remembers somebody coming home covered in white emulsion paint and or blood, it was 8 months ago, remember, on Friday the 15th of April or Saturday the 16th of April. It is, as we said, quite possible that whoever holds the key to this investigation comes from beyond the immediate neighbourhood of Anchor Street and of Chelmsford. So if you do know something, please do ring us. Police officers are here to take your calls, and we're on 0500 600 600 here in the studio. Or you can call the incident room number in Chelmsford, which is 0245 452120. That's 0245, which is the code for Chelmsford, 452120.
The lines are maybe intermittently engaged. We've been busy almost from the off on the murder that we started with, the Nayantara Ali murder. I can tell you a lot of good calls have come in on the carpet under the valance, but one in particular, somebody that the police hadn't reached for some reason in the local area, who may have some very revealing information which we can't tell you a great deal more about at the moment. On the lorry hijack, some good calls too. Incidentally, there's a £10,000 reward on that one. Now to incident desk, but before we hear the clues, an urgent appeal for a woman who called here last month about the murder of Stanley Nichols. You may remember he was killed in the Anchor pub in Yalding in Kent on Sunday the 25th of September. Now, the caller named a father and son. Would she please ring back? On the same case, another call led to Edinburgh, and this may have settled a quite different crime, incidentally another very serious one, but the murder is still unsolved. The other cases may have made more progress, notably the violent robbery on a taxi driver in Bromsgrove. One name seems to be significant, and the police say an arrest is imminent. An assault on young boys may have been solved too. We'll bring you details of that when we can. Now for this month's Incident Desk, here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Detective Constable Jackie Hames.
First on Incident Desk, do you recognise this man? On Saturday, November the 19th at about 6:15 p.m, he raped a teenage girl in Southampton. The victim was walking to a friend's house in Dunkirk Road through the grounds of Southampton Sports Centre at Bassett. When in front of her she saw a man in her path, so she cut across the cricket pitch to avoid him. But he followed, threatened her with a knife and then raped her. The man had a husky voice and wore this black baseball cap, which, in his haste to get away, he left behind. It has a Los Angeles Raiders motif on the front. Perhaps you recognise it, or maybe you recognise the man. He's 30 to 40, about 5'9", well built with short receding hair and a stubbly beard. If you recognise him, please call us tonight in the studio, or you can call the incident room on free phone 0800 393 427. That's 0800 393 427.
Next, a murder which has baffled police officers in London. 52-year-old Elaine Warman was killed by someone on Friday the 9th of September between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. Elaine worked as a clerical assistant in London's West End. She always caught the number 36 bus from Park Lane back to her home in Camberwell. That Friday, she would have arrived at her flat at around 5:45 p.m. Her body wasn't discovered until the Monday morning. Her silver charm bracelet and some money had been stolen. Elaine's Midland Cash Point card was used on 4 occasions over the weekend of her death. At 7 p.m. on Friday in Whitechapel and on 3 occasions in Camberwell. The final one was midnight on Sunday the 11th of September. We're desperate for your help, so cast your mind back to Friday the 9th of September. Did you catch the number 36 bus from Park Lane to Camberwell just after 5 p.m? Maybe you saw Elaine on the bus. She was wearing a yellow and white striped blouse and a black skirt and jacket. Elaine was 5'2" and of slim build. If you can help, and there is a reward, please ring us here in the studio, or officers in the incident room in Southwark are waiting to take your call. They're on 071 232 6755. That's 071 232 6755.
In our last case tonight, the victim, a mother of 2, managed to fight off her attacker. Officers in Lincolnshire are in no doubt that this man would have raped her if she had not fought back so bravely. At about 6:15 p.m. on Monday the 14th of November, the man was in the Trinity Road play area, Stamford, which is 15 miles from Peterborough. The victim was looking for her 13-year-old son, who'd been out with friends. Unbeknown to her, he'd arrived home shortly after she left. Whilst looking for him, a man grabbed her and sexually assaulted her. After a struggle, the woman managed to bite her attacker on the chin, and moments later he fled. Take another look at him. He's in his mid to late 30s, 5'10" to 6 foot, and well built. He has a broad face and fair hair cut in a basin style over his ears. He was wearing dark trousers and a dark jacket, possibly leather. Remember, it's likely he had bruising on the right side of his chin. If you think you know him, please call us here in the studio. Or you can call the Stamford Police direct on 0476 62501. That's 0476, the code for Grantham, 62501.
And the number here in the studio is 0500 600 600. That's free call 0500 600 600.
How often have you heard a burglar alarm go off and done nothing about it? And the trouble is, of course, there are so many false alarms. Even so, a bell or a siren going off generally makes us more observant, and that might help to solve the case we're showing next. 7 weeks ago, Kath Hempsall triggered her alarm at home in Lincoln, and detectives now need help to find her killer.
New Year's Eve at Kath's house had become quite a tradition, and the old microphones came out at the drop of a hat, really. We weren't that musical. We just enjoyed singing, especially after a few drinks. It was a good time. We had fun.
Kath Hempsall was a part-time midwife. She lived with her husband and 7-year-old daughter on Lincoln's busy inner ring road.
Oh no! Oh, just missed it.
Hey, Daddy, I'm meeting Mummy.
Kath's life revolved around Andy and Louise. She was devoted to her husband and especially to her child.
Handed stuff. You didn't mention the commercials.
Louise!
Here, put your shoes on, Pat. Hello? Oh, Liz, is everything all right? Yeah? Yeah. Oh, Louise, go and brush your hair.
Yes, I think they're going to give me a perm. They can see me about 9:15, which means I could get to you about 10:30, maybe 11.
Yeah, I've got one job to do after I've dropped Louise off, and then I should be back here about 9:30. Yeah. OK. All right. See you later, then. Bye.
Louise, hurry up with your leaves.
Have you got your lunchbox?
Yes, Mum.
It's near the block of flats. Excuse me. Can you take your seat a minute? I'll be with you in a minute. Contact the RAC.
Looks like we're off school for the rest of the week.
Yes, we're worried about reducing...
We'd been in doctor's surgery. My son had a chest infection, and we were rather worried about it.
By this time, Kath had dropped Louise at school, had briefly been into town, and was now on her way home.
What a hideous colour. Can you believe that people should have such colours?
My son was he had a very down sort of mood, and I was really trying to cheer him up. That's why I kept noticing things and chatting to him. I wonder if that's... Oh, it's all right. There's a car in the driveway. I found it's in a remarkably good condition for its year. It's a white rich like this one. And it was then that I became aware of someone running along the pavement. It's all right, I'm not going to run you over. I know where the brake is. But he shot off towards the rear of the white Transit. And that was the last I saw of him.
Well, I did say I'd get to my sister as soon as possible. I'll get you out for about 11 at the latest, I should think. OK? Give it to Liam right the way back.
Two traffic policemen happened to be driving by and heard the alarm.
Made a very thorough search, really, but couldn't see anything disturbed or anything that seemed strange, so we returned to Lincoln Police Station.
How long were you there?
We left just after 10, was there about 10 minutes in all.
Yep, OK. I'll see if I can get hold of a key holder for you.
I'll leave that with you.
All right, bye now.
Although the police had heard the alarm, they didn't know a panic button had been hit.
Hello, police. I'm really worried about my sister. She lives at Longdales Road. I've been round there myself and she's just not answering. The car's sitting there, the alarm bell's going off. She must be in. It's just not... I'm really worried about her. I don't know what's going... There must be something terribly wrong.
The police found Kath in her hallway. She'd been stabbed over 30 times.
I was prepared for a shock because I knew already that something was wrong.
Can you just stay in the car? An officer will be with you shortly, OK?
I don't know when the realisation of the way in which she had been killed hit me. I really don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it still hasn't.
Tom Coates is the head of Lincolnshire CID. It was actually a fairly foggy morning that morning, Tuesday, October the 11th. That chap running across the road, though, is by far your best clue, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's very important to us. He may have, of course, been there quite innocently, and if he was, then we would like him to come forward. He may have been waiting for a bus or waiting for somebody else.
How good a description have you got of him?
Well, it's quite a good description. He's 17 to 25 years of age, 5'8" tall, slim build, pale complexion, wearing scruffy clothing and most insignificantly a woolen hat.
Now, somebody like him was obviously hanging around that area for an hour or so because someone was seen by the phone box about 300 yards down the road.
Yes, they were. There was a man seen of similar description near the telephone box, and several other people have also told us about him being seen in the area.
Now, apart from that man, the other distinctive thing that was sighted was this white Ford, probably Ford Transit, this Y-registered vehicle. Now, what do we know about this? It was there for some time too, wasn't it?
It was there for quite a long time, certainly all the time that we were interested in. And it's a white van, it's described as a transit, but it may be another vehicle of a similar type, similar shape.
Again, you need to eliminate that if that was a delivery or someone hanging about there for a perfectly innocent purpose. Someone was also seen in the driveway of the house. This could have been mistaken for one of the police officers who were investigating it, but maybe not.
It could have been, but the witnesses have described a man of 40 to 55 years of age being in the drive, and if the person was there, we'd like him to come forward.
And a woman walking some dogs, a potential witness you need to find very quickly.
Yes, a woman with two small dogs walking along the road. We would like her to come forward. She must be able to identify herself.
Well, if that was you, if there's anything where you can help, 0500 600 600. It's free here to the studio, 0500 600 600. Or you can call the incident room in Lincoln. That's on 0522 558 542. That's 0522, the code for Lincoln, 558 542.
Well, one of the most successful anti-crime campaigns has been Operation Bumblebee, a drive by the Metropolitan Police to combat burglary. A huge treasure trove of property has been recovered, but a lot of it remains unclaimed. So here are some distinctive items from the Thames Valley. Here's Eric Knowles with his expert eye over Aladdin's Cave.
Thank you, Sue. Well, if you're watching tonight and you should be playing at a gig and you can't for the simple fact that you've had your guitar stolen, then feast your eyes on this little lot. It does include this 5-string bass guitar, which I'm told is something of a rarity. Now, for some inexplicable reason, people ask me about the weather from time to time. What I really need is a barometer, but I'm not quite sure whether or not this 18th century Dutch example would be of any use to me. No, given a choice, I'll take this little lot. I'll take the Bears every time. I particularly like the little Golfer down here. They're German, around about 1900. Now, if the faces of these two small boys mean something to you, albeit they were painted in around about 1845, then there is a connection with this particular pair of pistols in their original cases. It's all in a name, and it's the name that I'm after. But we've got plenty of Cupids on the programme this evening. What about this little chap? Sat on top of a Victorian ormolu casket, and it's all in the Renaissance style. But even more interesting are these Cupids painted on this English porcelain bow pot. Now, this is from an incredibly rare English porcelain factory. Date-wise, around about 1790, and what's more, it's one of a pair. Here's a single and honest Chinese table. It's about 1850 in date, and it's inset with this white marble top. And on it, from the same period, a Chinese bottle vase, beautifully decorated in coloured enamels, and on the base is a particular motif, and if you can tell me what that motif is, I'll be more than interested. A little bit later in the Victorian age, a silver tea service, quite simple in shape, in its original fitted box. I know it's by an absolutely top English maker, and his label is inside that fitted box. Pretty as a picture. Here's a young lady. We're at the original. The original is by Holman Hunt, but this is a little bit later in date. But what makes it unusual is on the reverse inscribed is quite a lengthy poem. Now, feast your eyes on this treasure of a watch. It is in actual fact by Patek Philippe of Geneva, and what's more, it contains the original serial number, the unique serial number, which is inside, and it's telling me that time is of the essence, and it's time for me to say bye for now.
Well, I'm just looking at the calls that have been coming in. The number, incidentally, if you see anything there that you recognise, 081 345 4112. That's 081 345 4112. I've just been looking at the calls that have been coming in. On the lorry hijack, several sightings of the trailer, some maybe during the hijack itself, other possible descriptions of where it is at the moment. On the Ron Cousins murder, the same name has been mentioned twice for that guy who was seen outside Mr. Cousins' home. On the Nayantara Ali murder, more calls, several of them suggesting why the carpet may have been cut into that distinctive circular fashion. Photo call Carl Maddox, a location which fits with information that police already have. On the Bedford Street robber, we've got some names suggested on that. In fact, photo call looks as though it's coming very promising indeed.
And there's the number, 0500 600 600, direct to the studio here, 0500 600 600. The lines are going to be open until midnight, and most of the incident rooms are open 24 hours a day. Crimewatch update is at 11:40 tonight, and it looks as though we might have quite a lot more to tell you by then.
Indeed, some quite interesting calls right now. If it's beyond your bedtime tonight, we'll be back next month, back on our normal Thursday evening. Do remember that the sort of offences we show are rare. In fact, you're much more likely to be able to help solve a major crime than be a victim of one. So please, don't have nightmares. Do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.